So what you're seeing right here is a new dash that I've been building out for our media buying team and all of our internal offers. This one's for Onnit, one of our performance offer clients. And basically, what you see here is under audience data is all the audiences that we've tested so far. Now, you probably are like, well, hey, anybody can do that. You're just looking at the audience. Now, the trick here is that this is an aggregate view, meaning that this row is pulling in every single ad set that's using the CrossFit interest. This is pulling in every single ad set that's using the entrepreneurship interest. Because like you said, and this goes to ads too, you're not just going to run the ad one time. You're going to dupe it. You're going to run it in different audiences. You're going to run it in different campaigns. You're going to try manual bidding. You're going to try segmenting. You're going to try all these things. Now, what most people do, and I've been guilty of this in the past, is they go into Ads Manager and they go into a campaign, then into the audience, and they look at the individual ad. And they're like, ooh, this ad did bad. It's not a winner. You can't make decisions, like macro level decisions like that, with micro level data, right? Because the reality is you're gonna have volatility. There's gonna be variability. You can have the exact same ad, right? Or let's even go here. For this example, the entrepreneurship interest. I've used this probably in 20 different ad sets over the last 3 weeks. I've tried different manual bidding things, different auto bid, different segmentations, etc. Now, some of them tanked. Some of them did terrible, right? But overall, this has got a 1.57 ROAS, and this ROAS is based. It's a CPA offer, so anything over one's profitable. Just so you guys know, we get paid 47 essentially for this. So this is a really strong audience. It's netted us almost $15,000. This audience alone in the last few weeks, pure profit to us. So if I was basing a decision, say, hey, this audience sucks because this one day this ad set did bad, or this one version of the ad set did bad, I would be losing a lot of money, right? And so this is the mistake a lot of people make. What you need to do is you need to create dashes like this where you can look at macro level creative data. The same thing here. We're doing the same thing on the video side, right? So these are the different videos that we're running. Now these videos are in different ads. There's in different audiences. They're all over the place, right? So again, I could look at individual ads and say, hey, ooh, this ad did terrible. This is a shitty ad. But maybe just did bad in that one campaign infrastructure, that one ad set infrastructure, but it did well 15 other places. If I'm making decisions off of a singular view, it's a poor decision. I need to look at the sum of data. I need to look at how it's performed across the board and compare it apples to apples with how everything else performed across the board, right? So you can see here, hey, this video, this Rogan interview video, the Joe Rogan one, is our top video. It's done really, really well consistently. It's our top performer across the board. So now I know this video works. Okay, so now I can test additional copy, additional headlines, knowing that on average, this video outperforms everything else. The same thing's true with your creative. The same thing's true with your copy. The same thing's true with your headline, right? So I think a lot of us get very focused on micro level data, and I know it's tempting, and I'm like, you got to look at all of it, right? So a lot of us, though, because there's so much data, we get tunnel vision, right? We get locked in at the smallest, most granular level because we can segment so far down, and that's good in certain instances. But when it comes to testing, I think it's more important to have a macro level view of understanding how different levers impact performance at a bigger level, right? And so if you look at like going back to the political ads, with a reporting dashboard like this, you're not just looking at, hey, okay, I created a single ad where I used a green background instead of red background. Ooh, and that one ad didn't perform well. No, I need to give that I need to try that in an environment where it's actually going to get a chance to get enough spend and enough testing to know apples to apples that it didn't perform. It's not just running it once under one audience. There's so much variability there that can dictate why this didn't work. If that makes sense. So typically what you can do, and there's a few, if there's no set in stone strategy here. But if by the time you're starting to get to that level of testing with creative, you should really know these audiences work. Okay. You should by that point have a lot of confidence in what's working in terms of bidding and audiences and et cetera. And so with confidence, you can create a new testing campaign with your top 6 to 8 audiences. And that's where you run the new version that you're testing, right? Small budget. Maybe it's only 10, $20 a day per ad set. But at least you're running it across enough ad sets. You're running it for a few days and enough spend to look at the macro level view of how that creative performed across all those audiences across multiple days. And then how does that compare against the control? So that's really the logic behind it, and what we think is important when it comes to testing. And again, I think it just there's two things happening right now. I think people are not testing enough, and people that are testing aren't measuring it effectively enough. So there aren't a lot of media buyers that I know that have a dash like this, where they actually can go in and they can know at an account level, an offer level, exactly what interest, behavior, lookalike, copy, headline, creative is working best across the entire account, across specific demographics, specific placements, specific ages, like that, right? And it's critical. You need to have this stuff. If you have this ready to go, it becomes really easy to test different things, pull different levers, and move the needle further and further and further, right? Because I know now, okay, I have the creative dash here. I know this video works really well. Okay, now I can push the boundaries with copy, with headlines. Okay, I know this copy works really, really well. So now I have the best creative, I have the best copy. Now I'm going to push the boundaries with newsfeed description, with thumbnails, with CTA, right? I can keep pushing and pushing and pushing, finding the best of the best, ending up with a variation that is just optimal. And then even break that down by which audiences is resonating best with, right? So that level of reporting and analytics is super critical nowadays, when it comes to, especially scaling, right? Because this is why I think a lot of people can't scale, because a lot of people are good at testing. When I say testing, I mean spending a few $100s a day profitably on Facebook. Because at that level, you can just throw a ton of shit at the wall, and if a few things stick, the spend's not high enough, it can be allocated enough that you can make some money. The problem is most people have no freaking clue why any of the stuff that's happening is working. They don't know what's working, they don't know why it's working, and they can't pull any levers to make it work better, and they can't scale it. They can't spend more on it because they don't actually know if this is the right combination of things to put money behind and what to put money behind. So they're stuck at $500 to $1,000 a day in spend, and they just continue down that path for months and years. When you have all this information, you know exactly what works, what doesn't work, you know your exact numbers. It becomes a lot more formulaic, and it becomes easier to spend $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 plus a day.